I'm Brenda MacIntyre. I'm going to get us started in a moment. I'm actually going to light some sage right now. Um, and I'll introduce myself traditionally. So, Tansei Bosho, Mishkikana Gaman Equidishnikas, Kokoko Nido Dem, Calgary Dunjaba, Deshkan Sibi Mikwanadada, Niani Hio Esqueo, Anishinaabe Kwe, Scottish, English, French, Irish, Welsh, meanwhile, whatever else, Endau. I'm a 60 Scoop survivor. I don't know my full identity story. I was adopted at birth and told I was not, I was told I was white. and so I just said in some Cree, some Ojibwe, some English, who I am. My spirit name, my Indigenous name is Medicine Songwoman. I said I'm Owl Clan. And I said that I am grateful to be living here in what is known to the Anishinaabe people as Deshkan Zibi. And that is the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Wendat, Lenape, and Attawandaron peoples here in what is colonially known as London, Ontario. And yeah, I myself I was born in Calgary. That's where I originally come from. And my family is from Lac La Biche and all over the place way back. um, and yeah, I'm on that identity recovery journey for myself, which is part of the Indigenous experience. So welcome. Welcome to Indigenous Peoples Day and Summer Solstice. And I'm just checking in again. I see a couple more people there, but it's not. Oh, there we go. Yep. Um, yeah. So I let us know where you're joining from. Feel free to pop that in the chat, and we'll see who's coming in from where. That's always cool to find out. And then I'm gonna share a welcome song to get us really started. But before that, I'll just share a little bit about what's going to happen, what we're going to do, what this is going to look like tonight. So, we're going to celebrate, of course. It's Indigenous Peoples Day. It's summer solstice. So there's going to be some song. There's going to be, well, we've already started the ceremony with the smudging. If you're not sure what smudging is, I think that you probably do because on the questionnaire it said, are you Indigenous or an ally? So you probably know what this is. But if you don't, it's sage. And I'm using white sage today. And I have a bit of tobacco because I always offer tobacco as well. Um, and, uh, and the sage is to clear the space. It's to clear also our space, like mind, body, and spirit space. And so virtual smudge for all of you. If you don't have if you have medicines of your own to burn, whatever that is for you, feel free to do that. And yeah, and I will let this burn for everyone here. Uh, and and that's to clear us, like so we can come in into the space in a good way. And then I'm going to, when I sing the welcome song, that's going to also bring in our ancestors, I like to call it your higher realm support team, whatever that is for you. So higher self, your ancestors are included in that. Angels, archangels, guardians, spirits, helpers, clan, whatever that is for you. So, oh my gosh, Elizabeth, you're an amazing person. People who use names. Yeah, that's helpful. Aw, thank you so much. Um, I think I have to make you co-host or something. Let me do that. I really appreciate that. That's very kind. Um, oh, right. I have to find you here. I have to find you and then let you do that. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Make co-host. There we go. Yeah. Julie, you're here too. Yeah, awesome. you, y'all are awesome. So some of you might not know, but I sit with I meet with regularly with Tara Moriarty's science and data team and do a wee bit of volunteering just with my holding space and singing and stuff. And Yeah, and some of us are here. Some of the group is here tonight, and it's so wonderful to see all of you here. I love it so much. So thank you for coming and helping. That's amazing. Okay, I'm letting in Windrider. That is well familiar person to me. And yeah, yay. Okay. So yeah, before I share the welcome song, uh we're gonna I was getting into what we're gonna be up to tonight. And so yeah, we'll do some celebrating through song and ceremony. And not coincidentally, through doing that, it's also going to be helping you, right? And you're going to learn how to rewire your brain and body for hope, healing, and a renewed sense of belonging. The elders say that we're the only ones on Mother Earth who have forgotten our original instructions. I'll never forget, like I heard, I don't even know how many elders tell me that, but I remember the first time I heard that. And yeah, you know, we're off course. We're not like squirrels running around doing what they need to do to live, right? We're just like, huh? So we need to get back to who we are. And so this is part of a big part of what I do is I help COVID conscious women. Now I've been working with women for, I don't know, over 30 years, but um, really over 20 years in the healing capacity. And, you know, and that includes taking action to end colonial practices of harm too. And there's a lot of that going on right now, as we all know, right? Especially towards Indigenous, Black, and let's just face it, really, like anyone who isn't a white male, right? so, so yeah, and especially COVID conscious people, yeah. So we're here for self care, community care, coming together in action, right? That makes us all win. So that's why I'm here doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm holding circle here now, and it's why I hold circle all the time in different ways. So, and most of it's virtual because of the times that we're living in. Yeah, so what's up for you? What brought you here? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Like, what is it that you're? Is it something that you just wanted to come and celebrate, come and be with COVID conscious women, or you know, is there something deeper going on that you just like? Like I know it's been pretty heavy the last few days, especially, but really the last few years, right? Yeah. So whatever you're here for, but it helps me also to. I'm going to gauge the energy, but when I hear what is happening for you, then I want to like use that music and the teachings to address that too. So yeah, because it's not just for me. This is for you. So our healing as individuals, as families, communities, nations, and as a planet, it begins, I believe, with resilience embodiment. And resilience is a word that probably most of us are really sick of, right? Especially Indigenous people, to be honest. But the thing is, it's true. And we all have it because we are born with it. A lot of y'all who are scientists know that, right? Like scientifically, we're made of it. So, but we forget. And so what happens is we don't have access to it because our body knows, but we haven't connected that ourselves to our body. We need to build our relationships with our body, um, and you know be in our bodies. And it's hard sometimes when there's pain, right? But being present in our bodies is how we kind of get through that. That's how. And I've been living with trauma for so long, and I know that works. That is the first thing to do is get into our bodies. And so we'll do a lot of breathing into your belly. So breathe into your belly for a moment. And it doesn't matter how deep or shallow. And I'll always say, let your body lead you because whatever chronic conditions anyone might be living with, I have chronic pain. I probably have long COVID. I, you know, have lung damage from having COVID way back, the OG COVID, like way back. And yeah, and CPTSD from losing my son. Like we all have whatever we have going on. And so honor your body. Let your body lead you with any of the stuff that we're doing because it's interactive tonight. Yeah. So I'm gonna keep checking in here. Yeah, I'll have to keep. I'm gonna check the chat in a bit, but I'll share a little bit more here. So, what's gonna actually happen? Like we already started in ceremony. We're gonna continue with that, and actually I'm gonna light a bit more sage because more people have arrived, and probably will keep arriving. So I'm gonna keep this going for a little bit, just to keep clearing the space and help us to. I'm helping me to hold space for all of you here, really. Um, yeah, thank you, Cheryl. I see that honoring the people on Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, it's like we get we get a month now. Woohoo! And we get a day, but really it's like we're on Indigenous land. It should be every day. But anyways, here we are, right? And summer solstice too, which is lovely because it's kind of a little bit of a new beginning, and we just had a new moon, which is another kind of piece of a new beginning. Um, so yeah, so we'll do ceremony throughout, and of course I'm gonna sing and drum for you. Like yeah, starting with the welcome song, and ending with some kind of a song. Um, and what was I gonna say? We're gonna do movements and different things, and like I said, let your body lead you, let your body guide you. It's not to push yourself, overdo things, like really let like whoever is, if you have long COVID or anything like that, like just pacing yourself and letting your body, listening to your body and letting it move you. So yeah, and I'll have a special announcement and a couple more invitations for you after this. Uh, I'll talk about that later, and we'll close with a song. So how does that sound? How does that sound? Tell me in the chat, drop an emoji or whatever you want. Yeah. And I'm going to just, is that still hot? But I'm going to sip some anyways. I just made myself some tea. Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, so make sure you have a glass of water. I have my water and I'll be alternating between my sweetgrass rose tea and my water all night. Well, it's throat medicine tea too. I threw some herbs in there for my throat because yeah, it's heavy allergies, mold outside in London today. So I'm not my lungs and throat aren't very happy with that, but I know what to do, right? I have my tools. So yeah, so I'm gonna do a song to welcome everyone, and I'm gonna just start talking, sharing the story about that song, um, because that's protocol. Like any time in a women's hand drumming circle, and actually it doesn't always happen anymore, but I'm a stickler for it because I really want to know what is the story of the song. And I know that you are going to just hear like wea hea hi ho and not know what the heck I'm talking about or singing about, right? Like how are you supposed to know? And that's because half the time it's vocables, it's not even words. And if it is words, it might be an Ojibwe, or Cree or something. And so if that is happening, I want you to know what the song is about and for, but also like these songs are all mine that I'm going to share today, but I think unless I share traveling song later, and if I do, then that's not mine. And I'll always tell you that because I want to give credit to whoever the creator of the song is or where it comes from. If I whatever I have been told about it, taught about it, and what's the medicine of the song? What's it for, right? And so, welcome song. Any welcome song is always about welcoming everyone in, right? But it's also not just welcoming us in, it's welcoming in our ancestors. It's welcoming in what I like to call your higher realm support team. So for you, that could be things like higher self, creator, God, goddess, the universe. Did I even hit record? I don't think I did. Yes, I did. Things are happening too fast. Okay. Yeah. So whatever that means for you, that's what we're welcoming into the circle. And I'm really mindful about how I hold space so that it can be safe and as safe as we can in Zoom, right? But spiritually speaking, energetically speaking, safe and contained. So I see my cat has joined us as usual, although he might leave when I start drumming. And your cats might join too. Sometimes animals just seem to some come and gravitate to these songs. But the song I want to share, so it's not just any welcome song. It's called Breath of Life, and it's from my Picking Up the Pieces album. And this album is the one that I made during the trial after losing my son to murder in Toronto. in 2016. If you didn't know that about me, take a breath into your belly. Even if you did, if that's touching you in a deep way, then just breathe. So I've been on that journey for, it's like 7.5 years now, and can't believe it because it feels like just yesterday, but, um, and in some ways eons. But I'll talk a little bit about that too, because that journey is how I've gotten here with these teachings and this medicine. So, or part of it, right? It's part of that journey and part of how I can teach what I'm here to teach. Um, and so, when I talk about breathing, it's because trauma takes your breath away, and so does grief. It literally, like, it makes us tighten up where either we're holding our breath or not getting enough, right? And I've been doing both. I still catch myself doing it. And so I have to remind myself to breathe. And I went to York, I think it was York. No, it wasn't York. I don't know where it was. I went to a powwow at one of the universities in Toronto. and, and there was this author there. His name is Ken Pitawanakwit, and he has a book called When My Son Died. So my friend was like, oh, you should go talk to this guy. So I went to talk to him, and he put his hand up like this in front of my chest and said, breathe. You're not breathing. And I'm like, no, because I'm a breathwork. Not that I took training for breathwork, but Spirit has given me different kinds of breathwork. And just my singing practice has given me different kinds of breath work to do. And I was not breathing. I was breathing so shallowly. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, how am I even standing right now? So it was kind of confronting, and at the same time, a really big teaching for me. So when I was working on the album, because that was the same year, then what I did was I asked for a song, because I channel songs. So for all you science types, think of it this way. It's like, that saying, oh, it just came off the top of my head. That's what happens for me. It's like literally coming from the top of my head into and me and then out my mouth. That's how these songs come through for me. It's not me thinking about and trying to write a song. So I'm going to channel something for you later on. I'm going to actually do that. And you'll see what that feels like and how that works. But this one here that I asked for, called Breath of Life, is to remind us to breathe. And it's breathing into our bellies, like I was talking about earlier, just breathing into our bellies. So again, letting your body lead you, not breathing too deeply. If you have breathing issues, then, you don't want to put yourself into a coughing fit, but just following your body's guidance and breathing into your belly. And it's not bypassing all of this either, your heart center, and you're just breathing all the way down there. So you're reaching your belly. Because what that does is it takes you out of what I call anxiety land, all this garbage up here that it's like, oh no, all these things I have to do, and oh, I'm not good enough, and blah, 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 and all the messages, right? All that stuff lives up here. But if we are in our bodies, then we cut that off. And then we're not there anymore, not in our heads anymore, which is where most networking happens. Yuck. We're in our bodies. And when we're in our bodies, we have access to that wisdom. And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said embodied resilience. Then it's in our bodies, but we're up here, then we can't access it. So we need to be in our bodies. Yeah, so take a breath into your belly. And this song, Breath of Life, again, is going to welcome all of you in, but also all of your higher realm support. And if you know the song, feel free to sing along, or even if you don't, feel free, or you can drum along, or both. And I'm going to do 4 honor beats to start it off. And I'm first going to take a sip of water. You're also going to hear me do some breathing, like that. You're going to hear me breathe on purpose, loud, because that's your reminder to breathe. Doesn't mean you have to take a very big, deep breath either. Again, remember to use your body's guidance. Yeah. Ha. way ya, hey ya, oh way ya, hey ya, way ya, oh way ya, ha, ya way ya, oh way ya, ha, 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 way ya, ya, hey ya, ha ya. Away, ah, ah, away, ah, ah, way, ah, ah, away, ah, ah, way, ah, hey, ya, away, ah, hey, ya, way, ah, hey, ya, away, ah, hey, ya, way, ah, away, ah, Yahweh, ah, away, Yah. So take a nice deep belly breath in and breathing it out at your own pace. Yeah. And just landing in your body and in your space and just feeling how gravity supports you. And gravity's always here to remind us that we're already grounded and we just forget. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to check the chat now because I didn't really go through and go back. And I'm going to share a little bit about me in a second too for those of you who are new to me. Haven't used Eventbrite except for actually my CD launch party for picking up the pieces back in 2019. That's the only time I ever used Eventbrite for this. And Star Trek sighting, is that what somebody said? Woo! Yes. Oh, my T. Yes, that's right. You got that right. Trekkie right here. Yeah, it's a little bit about me too. Yes, I am a sci-fi nerd. Yep. So, um, and I'm just checking because I had asked. And if you're just coming in now too, or you just joined while I was singing, like think about what is it that you're here for, and if you want to drop that in the chat, feel free to do that. If you have intentions, what you want to get out of this, and I see. Okay, yeah, here we are. Yeah, celebrating solstice and Indigenous people in a special way. Awesome. Yes, this is it. Doing my best to live and keep moving forward. 5 months in from losing your son. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's really fresh. And a year and oh my gosh, that's a lot. A year and 4 months of losing my daughter. So you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Yeah. Connecting to the drum can really help that for sure. Yeah. Um, and coming together with like-minded people, yes, 100%. And celebrating and honoring my first grandson's 21st birthday. Woohoo! Happy birthday to them, and happy birthing day to the mama. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Learning and growing, celebrating, healing and hope. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna go and see what everyone else is saying here. Connection, praying for the forest fires. Yes, totally. Oh, and Atawapiskat, I didn't know. Thank you, Clarice, for telling me that. Continued healing and grounding and learning Indigenous practices. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to share as I go along, just to give a little bit of teachings about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And, open, accessible teachings that are not anything that you are not allowed to share, that it's okay to share um, and to learn. Yeah. So a little bit about me, like I'm a keynote speaker. So my English name is Brenda MacIntyre. My Indigenous name is Medicine Songwoman, or in Ojibwe, it's Mishkikinagamananikwe. I'm just learning it in Cree. It's Maskiki Nikamo Esqueo. And yeah, and I've been singing for almost 40 years professionally, um, and then along the way, I started also giving workshops and circles and also keynote speaking about 20 odd years ago. And I use my music to help women and now COVID conscious women. This is really where I'm going right now because it's needed. We need safe spaces for us. So I know because I'm sitting in the circles that I do, like that's where I'm getting nourishment, right? Um, and so, yeah, I want to facilitate spaces for us because I am us. Yeah. So, getting through grief, trauma, exhaustion, and whatever else, but also while reawakening to whatever gifts we each carry. That's really important too. Like, really, I was talking earlier about remembering who we are, getting back to who we are, right? And feeling lighter is that's one thing I noticed that people say after these events and after classes and my picking up the pieces program is they feel lighter, and I want that. I'm really happy that that happens, and I feel lighter too when I'm doing this, and also renewing your sense of belonging, because I know it's been really weird, like feeling like a bit of an outcast, like a really like majorly like an outcast, which I think for a lot of us is probably kind of life story, but at the same time, it's a lot worse. Um, yeah, so I like I said, I'm a bit of a paradox, or maybe I didn't say that yet, but I'm COVID conscious. Obviously, that's why I'm doing this. I'm disabled in a few ways with PTSD and just body stuff, chronic pain, um, and a leg injury, and neurodivergent, and deeply spiritual. And yes, I got my Star Trek mug because I love sci-fi and I love real science too, right? When it comes to infectious diseases, I follow the facts and the science. And so that was why I had those questions on there. Thank you for the answering the questions on the form, um, because it's important to have safe spaces for us. Yeah. Okay. So, as you can imagine, most of my before times friends are either people I can't trust anymore, or I just they're not in my circles anymore. I walked away, or they did. Right? Anyone relate? Like, let me know in the chat if that's happening for you too. Um, and yeah, my gifts have always been connected to song and spirit. That's kind of I like to say my first two languages were song and spirit, because they were always been very connected that way. And I've had visions ever since I was a little girl, had prophetic dreams and things like that ever since I was little. Not understanding any of it and having white parents that had no idea how to deal with it either. So yeah, yes, walked away. Yeah. Um, Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Yeah. So, is there a bit of an echo? There might be. Okay. Now there probably won't be. There is, because I'll tell you a little secret. I have a machine here that gives me reverb. Yeah. And most of the reverb is not even working on Zoom. Zoom cuts a whole bunch of it out. Um, but yeah, I have my. So if you have like finely tuned musician kind of ears, then that's what you might have been hearing. So yeah, so I my passion in teachings though come from not song and spirit really. Actually, my passion in teachings come from my grief and the trauma that I've lived through. My parents died when I was a teenager. My adoptive parents. I was adopted at birth. I didn't know who I was, and then my parents who raised me died, and I had to just sort of live with my relatives. We didn't get any help. There was nothing, and nothing for us, and I didn't really get help for that until my 30s, when I was like, this can't be life, right? Like, I felt so sad all the time, and I never really knew what joy felt like. So I I went and tried to get help and got counseling and stuff, and it just wasn't really landing for me, even though they were good people trying their best. But I didn't know I was Indigenous. So then, this first time I go finally found out, and then I go to a healing lodge with Indigenous women and children, and boom, I was able to start my healing journey. And that was, back in the 90s. And um, because of a couple of medicine women that came in, I was able to actually let go of all of the charge of from the grief of my around my parents. And my mother died by suicide, and my dad died by a massive heart attack, and I found him. So it's a lot of trauma I was carrying that I didn't realize I was carrying, and grief, right? And I was able to really actually get to a point, because of their ceremony, their music. They were singing and using a shaker. One of them was, and the other one was holding me in this blanket. It was such an amazing ceremony for me, but it was also the first time for me that I ever channeled a healing song. And that's big. And I didn't know that either. I didn't even know I had done that. But it was part of the ceremony. And it just came, they were like, sing until you're done. I'm like, I don't think she means blues or reggae. That's what I was singing, like that kind of R&B and stuff. Um, and she gave me her drum to sing with, and it was just amazing for me. And I heard my voice as two voices for the first time. And that was like back in, I think it was 1998. And and ever since then, and they told me I was a healer, but I ran away. I wasn't ready. And I came back because I kept getting bumped into it. And, this is also why I'm a proponent for people sharing their gifts, because I wasn't sharing all of it. I wasn't sharing all of my gifts. I am now. So, oh, Julie, yeah, that makes sense. Two people, yep. All right. Kick Jewel out. Okay. Elizabeth, do you think can you get that? Can you get her out? Julie number 2. Yeah. Um, and yeah, so I went through a lot, and I needed to get help, but I finally did. And it was through music, and it was through ceremony and Indigenous teachings, and, coming back home to me. And they told me that the reason I heard my voice as two voices that time was because I brought my spirit home to myself. It had not been in my body all that time because of all the trauma. I was completely dissociated, right? So all that healing, and then I was able to help people as soon as I stepped into that gift. So all of that trauma and stuff, though, like, so what happened? I want to revisit, like I was telling you about my son earlier a little bit, right? And thank you, Elizabeth. Pardon me. I'm saying Elizabeth, and I know it's Liz, but anyways, just reading it. So in March 2020, right? What happened? We all know what happened, at least here in Ontario, and I guess probably most of Canada. Was earlier or later, I guess, for some other countries. But I had this moment though in my living room, right? I was just sort of doing whatever I was doing for my day, and I and I just stopped, and I just burst into laughter, which is weird, right? But it's because I knew what to do. I was like, I've already lived this, or I've done it. I know how to deal with this, because all of the stuff that I had to go through after losing my son was like living in the pandemic. And I mean, we were just getting started, but I knew this is it, and it's same now. And I'll tell you why. Like, yes, extreme loss, like that's happening for a lot of us, right? Losing people, but also because of the gaslighting from authority figures, right? The police were gaslighting me. Um, Also being isolated because people don't want to talk to, boy, people don't want to be touched by murder, right? Never mind grief. Grief is like already a big thing that people want you to feel better, so they don't like it if you don't, right? And our society is really good at telling us to push our grief down and get on with it. Yeah. And that's wrong. So, all that stuff was going on for me there. Then when it came down to things like the media, press conferences, and the dude that is actually, I try not to get political, but hey, it's my show. So, so, yeah, the ex-police chief of Toronto was excluding me from the press. I would never know when the press conferences were happening. It took someone from the media to tell me, and she said that she would only be able to tell me if like 1 minute before. She couldn't give me any other heads up, but she told me, and then she called them out. She called out Saunders, anyways. But that kind of stuff was happening, and that's happening now. It's just like lots of gaslighting, authority figures, just right-wing people doing whatever they're doing, and kind of just crapping all over everybody else. And friends ghosting me, like that happened too, because yeah, again, uncomfortable with what's going on, right? and I was just traumatized over and over through the court system, pre-trial first, then the trial, which was supposed to start way earlier, delay after delay, like sudden changes, surprises. Remember all those news conferences in 2020? It's my life, man. It was like that already. Um, and so I knew how to deal with it. It was familiar to me, and the brain loves familiar, right? Which is why all these people are going back to living like it's 2019, because for them 2019 was party, live as usual. For me it wasn't. It was living like this already, so I kind of already knew how to deal with this. So that's why too, like after I made, so what I did, I chose to make an album, and that's where the songs are mostly coming from, or maybe all coming from tonight. I haven't decided yet. um, is that album called Picking Up the Pieces. And it's because I had a vision about picking up the pieces. I just, like, I saw myself shattered on the floor. It was like myself and my life were just in pieces on the floor. And from that vision came the album. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to plan this whole thing out, right? And how do you plan for the unknowable? I found out. And that's what I did. So I was able to also kind of plan for this, because it's also the unknowable, totally traumatic and chaotic and all that. And basically so similar that I knew what to do. So I planned a year ahead for the main trial, so that I would take care of myself in a good way and have the supports that I need, and resources, right? And songs, yeah. So I that's what I did to get myself, to give myself the care that I needed, and community too that I needed. So that's why I'm here, right? Bringing care and community to you, because that's what I know helps. And so that's kind of what's brought me here to do this work, and to do these events, and also just connecting with nature. And of course, it's Indigenous Peoples Day, so I have to do something to celebrate. And I'm not going to a powwow where everyone wants to hug and no one's masking, right? So I'm like, I'm going to create myself a virtual event like I always do, right? So I've been doing virtual events since 2010. Nothing new to me. So before we're going to get into some teachings and practices and some songs, right? But first, I want to sing a really celebratory song, and it's called "Living Past the Limits." And so I'll share. I don't even need to tell you the story of that song. It speaks for itself. Just listen to the lyrics when you hear it. You're going to hear some Ojibwe, and that's okay. And at the end, a big long part of it is Ojibwe. And I'm going to tell you that, like, the big long part of it is a prayer. And I had an elder I gave tobacco to an elder to translate that to Ojibwe for me. Because at the time, I didn't know I was Cree. I've only found that out, uh, I can't remember, 2021, I think. So, so yeah, I'm going to sip some water again. Always a reminder for you to do it as well. Yeah, so living past the limits. It's I mean, it's about that. It's about living past the limits, but it's like, well, here we are. We're already doing it, right? We're already living way past our limits. But it's like, okay, now how do we expand and fill in that gap, and kind of create that space around ourselves so we can still expand through this and still live and still have lives that feel good, even with all of these weird things going on and all the limitations, right? We can still kind of live past the limits in little ways, and in some cases in big ways, right? Yeah. So one second. Yeah. So this song here, um, that I'm going to change. You're going to hear echo again, but not the same way that Julie was. I think that's the right one. Hang on. No, I think it's this one. Okay, so this song is from the Picking Up the Pieces album. And let's go reverb. I know. I wish Zoom would let me go real reverb, but yeah, it doesn't. It just compresses it, even with the musician settings. So yeah, I want you to let your body move you. Let your body move you. This is where we get a bit interactive. And if you feel to sing some of it, then do it. living past the limits. You're going to hear that over and over. Living past the limits, living past the limits. This is one of the ways that we rewire our brains. I didn't even know I was helping my clients rewire their brains until they told me. So two of them in particular were like, you know what you did to me? Like, that's just from her singing. Like one client was telling me, like, it was just from her singing the songs, certain songs. Like one of them was Be Here Now, that I have from another album called Medicine Song. And yay, thank you, Elizabeth, for fixing that for Julie. Thank you. And you know, like, I just lost my train of thought. So I'm gonna come back. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go back to the song. So living past the limits is, and I did in my mind is the video. Every time I sing it, I see the music video because friends of mine collaborated with me. We did this all in like in a couple of parks actually, and my daughter and her boyfriend at the time, and they did the filming, and it's amazing. So you can get it, you can see it on YouTube. Actually, it's on YouTube. But yeah, I'm gonna sip some tea. I was saying, like, let your body move you. So trust your body and let it guide you, so that if you have chronic pain or anything, you're not overdoing it, you're not pushing it, but you're letting your body move. Yeah. Valentina, yeah, you get me. I probably do have ADHD. I'm pretty sure I do. My son did. He probably did get it, not just from, I was blaming it on his dad all this time. I'm like, guess what? Probably me too. Whoops, I was going to get the drum and I don't even need it for this song. Right. So living past the limits. So let yourself move. If that means getting up out of your chair because you can, that's awesome. If it means like moving your little fingers, that's okay too. Whatever you can move. And yeah, right. I know what I was saying now. So when you repeat those lyrics, yeah, my client was saying just by repeating the lyrics, it actually changed her life. And another one told me that too. So it's really so amazing when you think of lyrics, like sing lyrics that really do help you to come back to yourself. All right. So just let yourself move. Make sure you're breathing into your belly. Just breathing. Living past the limits, past the limits, past the limits of the world that we can see. Living past the limits, past the limits, past the limits of this reality. Many seeds were planted by our ancestors to nourish humanity. We were meant to take care of each other, live our lives in harmony. Everywhere I go, I see so many possibilities. Deep down, you know, we can override our history. Living past the limits, past the limits, past the limits of the world that we can see. Living past the limits, past the limits, past the limits of this reality. Wash me over Martin, Schween Embodiment. Wash me near the coat, Tom Gawanda. Wash me over Martin, Schween Embodiment. Wash me near the coat, Tom Gawanda. You can return to the sacred fire of creativity. Just a little bit of patience and time to get to the love that's underneath. Don't give up on life, no matter how many tears you cry. Might feel like the darkness of night, but together we can find the light. Oh, live there, yeah, yeah. Make sure you're breathing into your belly. Breathing in the good vibes. living past the limits, past the limits, past the limits of the world that we can see. Wash me no bematen, schwina wabdamen, wash me nere ko tam the wanda, nere tam the wandamen, eshkatoyan, kanina win the ma eyayan, non ding nere, we ash monton, nagita, when the moen. The king of the Matsi, Didikashi was stone bay. Oh, my king, Niddy Wabin, Waskin Wayin, Nidikopian, Koji Yayin, Nidikendam, Jaya, Namanya there, Nima, Piga, the Matsi, good to meet way. Oh, my king, Niddy, the mountain, low, the Matsi. Yeah. So just how does that feel in your body now? How do you feel now? And I'll share with you the prayer. So it goes, we all have our talents and abilities. It's up to us to express who we're here to be. Listen to your heart. Relax your mind. You living your life and expanding yourself brings light to everyone around you and to the world. I see your light when you step outside of your limitations. I feel your heart when you open it. When you let yourself truly live, you are a gift to the world. I dare you to live life fully. Even in all of this, right? We can still do that in the best ways that we know how, right? Yeah. So I want to share now. I'm going to share some teachings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just seeing the chat. I'll check in there too. Let's go vocal runs. Wee! Yeah. Oh, thank you, Valentina. Breathing seems natural to this song. Yeah, and I mean, I've kind of designed, I guess my songs sort of design themselves that way, but I do, because I had pneumonia halfway through the recording project, and, while the trial was happening, or I think it was like while we were on a break, my first case of pneumonia ever, and it just was not fun. But that was another reason breath was so important to me. So I had to find places to breathe and ways to make it easy. Yeah. So awesome. Thank you. One of your cats is singing. That's so awesome. I saw that you said that they were there too. Yeah. So 3 simple steps to grief relief. And I mean, we're already doing one of them. So I'll just go into it. But it all helps with chronic pain and trauma too. And it's soothing to the nervous system. It's grounding. It can bring you into a calmer state. And like I was talking about before, out of anxiety land and into your body, right? But also energize you at the same time. So it's funny, like I've been able to find states of calm and being energized at the same time through this. And we can move and shift energy with breath, voice, and song. And so the 3 steps are like, they're the launch pad to resilience and reawakening, because we have to be in our bodies to get there. So, yeah, it's funny because, the spirit, it's not all just woo woo. Like we got to be in our bodies. And that's what I see, unfortunately, in the spiritual community right now. Like I just got an email from someone that just kind of like, what are you talking about? Bunch of disinformation again. Because they're up here in their heads and they're not in their bodies. If they were in their bodies, I don't think that would be happening. So breathe into your belly is the first step. Surprise, surprise. So breathing into your belly at your own pace and depth, that again, letting your body lead you. Just, I'm going to take a breath. So breathing into your belly, breathing in, and then breathing out at your own pace. So that's the first step. And you can keep doing that. Just breathing gently into your belly for now. So you're not getting into hyperventilation or just coughing or whatever. Just be gentle. And then number 2 is become aware of your physical body and your breath. So while you're breathing right now, just even while you're breathing right now, become aware of how the breath feels going in, out, and through your body. And just become aware of any sensations that might be in your body right now. Just becoming aware. Because that will bring you back in. If you're dissociating or if you're having an anxiety moment, it will snap you right back into your body. Just becoming aware. So you're breathing. First step is that first breath into your belly, and then the second step is to become aware. Becoming aware of your body and your breath. And then the third step is to sound your voice. And I'm not talking that you have to do all those vocal runs, as Valentina was saying. You don't have to be like, ah, right? But you can be. But just sound your voice. So when you think about it, you can't talk or sing or laugh or cry or yell or make any sound out of your voice without breathing. You can't. So when we breathe in and then we sound out, whatever is on our hearts can just leave. And if you do that with an intention, it's even more powerful because we're all energy. Whether it's science or spirituality, it comes down to it. We're all energy, right? We're always molecules moving around, energy moving around, vibration, and our voice vibrates stuff out of us, and vibrates stuff out to the world as well. So I mean, if we're speaking prayer, if we're speaking intentions, those are going out. And when you're humming, it stays in. For you, mostly it stays in. It's for you. And it's such a soothing activity to do. And then there's, singing, laughing and crying and getting maybe angry and yelling. Like, all sounds are valid. So when I say sound your voice, it could be you breathe in and then you're like, ah, ha, ha, ha. That's the sound out. It could be that, or it could be that you all of a sudden feel like an urge to cry and tears come and you start to cry. That's valid too. So whatever the sound is, but the important thing is to sound your voice, because again, that's going to move energy. And while you're in your body and doing that, then you're aware and you're going to be more able to kind of connect with your body and be able to do that. So breathing into your belly, and we're going to do this with a song in a minute. So breathing into your belly, becoming aware of your body and breath, and then breathing out with a sound. Maybe it's a sigh, maybe whatever sound you want. And breathing in to your belly, aware of your body and breath again, and then breathing out with whatever sound. Ha. Yeah, and just keep breathing. Just keep breathing. And that's beautiful, Julie. A safe space to be a safe place to be vocal. Yeah. We need to have our voices heard, especially these days. Holy cow. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these 3 steps into a song. And the song that I have, oh yeah, right, this is where I was going to channel a song. I have another song coming too. So what we're going to do is I'm going to channel a song right now. I'm just going to bring through whatever comes. And I do feel like that's why I was picking up my drum. So I'm going to use the drum to do that. And all you have to do is just sit there and breathe and let whatever sounds come out. And it could be any sound, like I was saying. But just remember to be aware of your body. I might even come in and I might even stop singing halfway through and just give you reminders. We'll see if I feel that is needed or it pops up to do that, then I'll do that. But just make sure, breathing into your body and feeling your presence in your body. Maybe too, like sometimes I'll just tap my heart or I'll hold or rub my leg where I have pain. Just to be in my body, right? To feel that physical sensation. So whatever will help you to stay in your body. and because you're going to feel a pull to spirit, probably. A lot of you, most of you will probably feel something, and you might get some healing from this. Uh, and I'm going to keep it short because I'm not going into a full-on journey here. But that's what I do in the new moon ceremonies for my students. And with Picking Up the Pieces program, we do that more like for about an hour, and I guess more like about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but around the rest of the ceremony. But for now, I'll do 4 honor beats. These are to send out our prayers, our intentions in all directions. So I heard the prayers that were needed for some of you, and those are going into this song. And if you have prayers and intentions for yourself, for the forest fires, for Mother Earth, let's make sure that first it's for you, because the elders will always tell you, you got to take care of yourself first. Or else when we put out energy and want to help people, we're doing that from an empty place. We want to do that from a full place. So let yourself fill up on this, and also release whatever is no longer needed. Feeling your body, feeling the physicality of it, feeling gravity holding you, and feeling held by Mother Earth. Because she's always here for us, no matter what. She's just always here for us. So just sending some love out to her too. And out to the waters, the land, all the beings on the land and in the waters and in the air. And then bring that right full circle back to you. All that love and healing energy. And letting yourself absorb that for yourself too. And if you had your eyes closed, feeling your feet underneath you or whatever surface you're on, if you're lying down, feeling the surface underneath you. And just, I like to usually tap my heart or just touch some parts of my body to bring me back. And look around when you open your eyes, refamiliarize yourself to the space. Yeah. And Julie already answered my question. I was going to ask, how was that for you? How are you feeling now? And what are you noticing? What are you noticing for yourself? And I am curious, like what, let me see. There we go. Chat is different now. Wow, all caps. I don't want to yell at you in the chat. I didn't realize I did it in all caps. But yeah, I'll say that again. How was that for you? How are you feeling now? And what are you noticing? And maybe you might want to even close your eyes again and just sort of check in with your body and your emotions and just see what's there. And there's no right or wrong. All of it's valid. And also sip some water. That's my reminder to myself too. I'm gonna have tea. Yeah, Kath, thank you for saying that too. Sometimes pain will come up and then it comes out because things come up to come out. Yeah, yawning is good. That's the deepest breath we can take. That's so great. Yeah, yeah, release. Comfortable and aware the cats have the zoomies. Yeah. Water imagery. Nice. Nice. Yeah. So, oh, angels around you. That's beautiful. I love it. In a canoe. Well, there's the water for two of you. So, love that. Water is big medicine for me. So, yeah. Um, it's big medicine for all of us. I mean, it's kind of like our breath, right? We can't live without it. So, yeah, holding hands about the water imagery. Ah, yeah. So yeah, we can begin to connect with our bodies, right, and feel lighter and grounded and soothe ourselves, like just with doing these 3 steps, just that. And I do encourage you to listen to some kind of healing music while you're doing it, because that can help sort of amplify it, right? Yeah, and nice. It felt soothing. Yeah, so it might seem like these are simple steps, but it's simple steps that will bring us home. It's simple steps that will bring us home. Sometimes I wish could write this all down when I'm talking because I don't know these things come through while I'm doing stuff. Um, but yeah, it's a big part of what got me through losing my son and then the trial and everything. Like breathing is number one. Breathing into your belly, that is number one. And we're practicing these steps all the time in the Picking Up the Pieces program because that's what's helping for grief and trauma. Like it helps us to bring us back into our bodies, back to ourselves, back home to us. And that's because when we're there, then when we give out, we're giving out from a solid foundation. And people really can feel that presence when you're in that, right? As opposed to blah 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 from up here, right? In anxiety land, up in ego mind land, and trying to like navigate everything from there. It's just frenetic and not helpful. But if we're in our bodies, then our thoughts are a lot more helpful. Yeah, because then it's not coming from the midbrain, then it's coming from our soul, really, and our presence, just being aware. So pulsing energy that opens heart. Beautiful. Opening despite it all. Open up anyway. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So just breathing. And yeah. So when we understand what was I going on about here, I have my notes here because yeah, PTSD, memory. So because we can understand something in our minds, but when we're triggered, right? Yeah. So when we're triggered, because I know for myself, I keep a body journal and I keep a grief journal, and so I know what's going on for myself because I have notes about it all through my journal and track it. And so because I do that, I see what happens when I breathe into my belly, for example. Um, then, when I find myself in a panic moment, if I breathe into my belly, it starts dropping. My anxiety starts dropping. I start feeling a little bit more uh, present, and it takes sometimes a lot of breath. And it's grown over the years, like because I've been doing the program for a while. I walk my talk. I use my own teachings and my own music, right? So it helps. It's helped me to almost get rid of my panic attacks completely after losing my son. Um, and has really, like, the anxiety levels that I have, like I'll still have it, and then I can drop back into my body, right? And and then I can do things that I need to do for my business or for my life and with my daughter. Um, yeah, memory, I don't know her. Yeah, good one, Valentina. Yeah. Yeah, regulate. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it helps you to regulate your nervous system for sure. Yeah. Um, yeah, so if we this is the reason why I do these events this way, and why this is how I do my keynotes, this is how I do everything. Like, if it's not interactive, I don't want to do it, because then you're just going to be up here and walk away with nothing, because then it's just going to go, like we said, memory, don't know her, right? So yeah, so like what we want is to be able to be in our bodies and put it into our body memory and into our blood memory and practice these things. So that's why, like, with my program, like, we meet in new moon and full moon, and that's why we do that. There's cycle, the moon cycle is connected. We're connecting to nature, but we're also putting things into practice over and over and over and over. And just like lyrics, when you repeat them, it gets into your body memory, and then that changes things. Yeah. So yeah, and then the other cool thing that happens that I've learned from elders, and I guess eugenics is really disgusting, but there is this side of it. We know from that, actually, from that science, that we can pass things on like 7 generations down the road. So really, really, what we do, what we are doing for ourselves, like the self care, the community care, the things that we do, the way that we show up, that all goes into our blood memory, and then it goes 7 generations down from there. So yeah, it's 100% real. Yeah. So we, at the same time, we have. That's why we always will thank our ancestors, and we will before the event ends, because because they got us here, and 7 generations back, all the stuff they were doing and going through and healing themselves from and helping people with, all of that goes into our blood memory, right? So we get to carry that, and so I'm honored to carry that, even if I don't know any of my ancestors, right? Like, I do know some of them, but hardly any compared to how many I've found out that I have. Like, holy cow! But I know that they helped, and I know that I want to be that helper here now. So yeah, the cycle breakers, as a friend of mine says. So so yeah, I want to share a little bit, and then I'm gonna. I said I would share invitations, and I'm gonna do that. But then I also want to share one more song, maybe two. I don't want to keep you too long, but I'm gonna definitely close with a good song, and we have one more that we'll put the breath work into. So yeah, so if you're curious about working with me privately, there's different ways to work with me. And so you can book a time for us to have a chat, and we can see what that might look like for you. I what I help my clients with, I work with to help them find their voice, to manage grief and trauma and chronic pain. Sometimes people get like serious physical healing, and sometimes it's more along the spiritual lines of spiritual healing, emotional healing. I am not a therapist. That's not what I do. I give spiritual guidance and whatever comes to me. I give, and then I have my medicine song healing technique that I work with. There's different ways. Fun fact, I made my own oracle deck. They're all sold out, but I actually do oracle readings too. Um, Anyways, so if you want to work with me privately, I'll throw the link into the chat in a minute. Um, but if you are more like wanting COVID conscious community, if that's what you're craving, loving the music, if you want sisterhood and connection, to feel less alone, to do circles like this for the new and full moon, that's my Picking Up the Pieces program. And it is doors open today. So this is the big announcement I was talking about, is I open it up 4 times a year. And this is kind of the best season actually, because season 4 is the final season, and because there's 13 moons, you can't divide 12 by you can do like 12 is 4 times 3, right? But you can't do that with 13. So we have an extra month, basically, an extra lunar month. So we have 4 full moon classes, which you get full moon teachings, and we do, like in the full moon classes, we work with one of the songs. So Living Past the Limits is actually one of the songs that's going to be in season 4, because it's towards the end of the album. And we work with the music. We play with the music, and that's for full moon. And then I also share full moon teachings. And then after, besides the full moon, we have our new moon journeys, new moon ceremonies, where we're doing, I channel a song like I just did, but then I'm doing healing work, and I'm getting messages, and it's a lot deeper. And all of the circles, by the way, too, like how I do them, and it's grown and changed thanks to just the way things were, and what works best. And one thing is, it's very small, and I keep it that way because in 2020 I asked my students, I said, what do you want? Should we grow it bigger, or should we keep it smaller? And they wanted it to be smaller because it's a lot less overwhelming that way, and when we are sharing and stuff, because how we've changed it too, how I've changed it over the years. This year and last year, what we do is have a sharing circle in the beginning and at the end. And so everyone gets to put their voice in the beginning and at the end if they want. And that part is unrecorded. We don't record that. And then the rest of it is recorded, so you get the replays of the teachings and the songs and stuff. But then you have private sharing time. So so that's kind of how they work. And because there's an extra moon, and then there's also October 30th, because we go July 17th to the October 30th. And October 30th is honoring the ancestors. That's one of my favorite workshops to give. And I have another bonus workshop I just give every season to help people to get their creativity going and bring out their inner child, to help them create their own tools to support themselves, because that's what I did. And the very thing that helped me to get through the trial the most is this funky little thing that I made. And so I teach everyone how to make one. Yeah. Holy cow, Liz is on it. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Liz. Yeah, so I'll give you I'll drop the other stuff in the chat too here. Where is it now? So there's more, because I was thinking, I wanted to, I just like to be generous. So I have, it's a little bit clumpy together here, but there's the program page and the and my discovery call there. If you want to chat with me about working privately with me, it's there too. And what I will say also is, you're saving 25% right now until June 30th, because Indigenous Peoples Day, man. So and it's Indigenous History Month. So once a month's over, so is the special. So it's $222.75, $222.75. That's all for the entire basically 4-month season. Yeah. 4 moon season. But so if you're one of the first 7 people to join, you're going to get a private Ask Me Anything session with me over Zoom. So, and I don't even do that over, like, it's not available to the public. I used to do it years ago, and I haven't done that for a while. But I do enjoy it. So I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. So the first 7 to sign up will get that. And, um, and yeah, that's literally, you can ask me anything like what I was talking about. And if I don't know the answer, I'll always say I don't know the answer, but I will share with you what I do know, and whatever comes through for you. So yeah, that's the deal. It's 297 regular, and there is a code there. Make sure you use the code. I can't even remember what it is right now, but it's on the page. Very easy for you. If you're a student, you know where else to go. But because my students get a different email, but yeah, this is what I do. This is my joy. It's my medicine, and and it's been helping the women in the program for the last, I guess, geez, this is going to be the 4th time I think I'm going to run it in the fall, but right now it's the third cohort. So yeah, um, so I'm going to bring us into a song, and this one has lyrics that are very easy for you to remember and to know, and I'll just pop it in the chat because it's so short and easy, but so powerful. And the song itself is really powerful as well. So I'm going to share that with you. It's called I Love You. And so here's the story about this one. I'm going to take some tea first. Yeah, so I Love You. I think this is the last song that came through. I'm not sure. Maybe Breath of Life might have been the last song. But it was one of the last songs that came through, um and it wasn't even going to be a song. It was an affirmation. So where did I write it? Here, I'm going to pop this in the chat. This is the lyrics, and you'll hear it in Ojibwe too, and then you'll hear vocables, which are sounds rooted in the language, um, but they don't have meaning. And the lyrics are very simple because this was an affirmation for me. I love you. I see you. I feel you. Simple, right? So let's say that together. I love you. I see you. I feel you. And now close, well, if you can close your eyes, and if you can't, then look at the screen. But think about now all parts of you. All parts of you. That weird wart that you might have or whatever, like that bad hair day, or that sore thing that just always is hurting, or that little child, that 7-year-old that hurts from whatever happened to her, like all parts of you. I love you. I see you. I feel you. I love you. I see you. I feel you. So this for me was because I had 2 of my healers tell me that, and I think my therapist told me too, that that I'm hard on myself, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I know I'm very hard on myself. Perfectionism, yeah, right here, perfectionist, big time. And so I needed a song for that. This is my medicine, right? Songs are my medicine. So I asked for a song for this. After I saw that the lyric or the words were like, well, this is a song. This has to be a song. So I thought it would just be an affirmation because I have a few of those too, but it turned itself into a song, and it's a drum song. So if you have a drum and you want to drum along, feel free to do that. Um, and yeah, and we'll sing this. So this is where those 3 steps come in again. So you get lots of practice. See, this is how it works, right? We have to practice it, get it in our bodies. And again, my throat is doing a thing, so hang on. Yeah. So breathing into your belly, becoming aware of your physical body and breath, and then sounding your voice. And you can either say it or sing it. Yeah. So I encourage you to use your voice though with it. So I love you, I see you, I feel you. And I'm going to say too, the deeper meaning of this is like the love that I am loves the love that you are. The love that I am loves the love that you are. Right? And so I don't even need to know who you are, pardon me, to know that I love you. And having love for all parts of myself and seeing all parts of myself, because maybe there is that little girl or that teenager or that pissed off 30-year-old, right? Like whatever that part of you is, there's parts of us that are calling our attention, And our bodies are usually how we are hearing the message. And so they just want to be heard. And then when they're heard and acknowledged, sometimes the pain will just fall away or things will just feel a little bit better, right? And I feel you is all about that compassion, because we have so much compassion for everyone else in the world. We need to have so much compassion for us too. Yeah. So I'll do 4 honor beats again and then this song. And this one's a nice upbeat one. If your body wants to move, let it do what it wants and can do. And remember, it's I love you, I feel you, I see you. You'll hear it, and then you'll hear it in Ojibwe, and don't worry about that unless you can speak Ojibwe. Yeah. So take that in for yourself. Let yourself really, really receive that love, that compassion. And those parts of you, whatever parts of you are just really needed that. Just letting them receive that. Yeah. So we're just about complete. So let me know how you're feeling now. How are you doing? Thank you for all of those beautiful words. Thank you. And then I wasn't sure if I'd have time, and we're at 8:33. I'm gonna do traveling song. I know there's a couple of my students here, and they love it when I do this song. It's not mine. It's not one of my songs. Um, but I'm gonna sing it because it's a very special song, and it will help for those of us anyone here who has recently lost someone too. It can help with them. And so I'm going to sing a traveling song in a moment. But first, I'm just going to see what's happening here in the chat. I feel good. I feel connected. I'm better than when I joined. Awesome. Beautiful. Blown away for real. Touched, deeply touched. Chimigwech, wonderful. Wow, this is so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, so traveling song. So as you're learning here with women's hand drumming circles, what we do is will that's the practice is that I wish I saw all the time, and I don't know if I know that not everyone does this, but I like to share that protocol is to share the story of the song, and like some of my songs are on YouTube, like my son's healing song. It's called Healing Song, and then there's a couple other ones, and when I want a song to be shared because I know people want to sing it, I'll always put that story there or get them the story somehow. People will email me and ask me permission, right? Can I sing this song? Is that okay if I sing your song? And if we were in person, they would offer me tobacco. And usually, really, like the full thing we would sit together and I would teach them the song. That's what we would do. But how it is now, it's like digital age, COVID times, and all that. So, and also a lot of the drum groups are way far away. Actually, one traveled like I don't know where in the States, like pretty days away, and came all the way to Toronto like years ago, and gifted me tobacco to learn one of my songs. And we sat together and I taught them the song. It's very beautiful. So yeah, that's our traditions, right? And that's a oral tradition too. That's how we share and keep those teachings alive, and keep those songs going. And every now and then a break in the chain happens, like broken telephone. And I remember seeing my song Crystal Clear being performed. Actually, a former client let me know. She's like, "Is this okay?" And they were singing my song Crystal Clear in the Okanagan in BC. Um, for like CTV or something, I think it was. And, you know, um, it was fine with me, but what happened was they were sharing the wrong story and they were saying it was actually an old traditional like song from that area. I'm like, kind of from that area because I taught it to some people from that area, but no, it's not from there. Wow. And it was definitely my song. And they said the wrong title and a bunch of stuff. So I had to actually correct somebody and let them know, like in a gentle, appropriate way, like this is actually what this song is about. And it was interesting though, because it is a gathering song too. And they shared that it is a gathering song. So it's kind of interesting. They got some of the teachings, but broken telephone. Yeah. So I mean, I try to. That's why too. Like I don't sell my CDs anymore, but I have an ebook for the music, and so like everyone in the program gets that ebook and the music because the whole thing's based on it. And then you have all the teachings from all the songs. Um, so then if people want to sing it or play it somewhere, then you can share that story. Yeah, and the protocols are in the guidebook too, so you know what to do. So there's no problem with cultural appropriation, and you can feel good that you're doing things in a good way. So yeah, so I'll pop that stuff in the chat again, just for anyone who might be interested or curious about working with me. And you can always go to my website too and just check it out. Although we're in the process of a very long process of like making a whole new website, but there's information there still. And I'm gonna share the story of Traveling Song, which again is not my song, but I'll share whose song it is. So this song came, and I learned it back in the 90s. I don't remember exactly when, at Anishinaabe Health Toronto. And this song, Traveling Song, is it's a collaboration from a group called the Aboriginal Women's Voices Collective, and they're women who came, Indigenous women who came together in Banff, Alberta, uh, in 1996, and they created an album called Hearts of the Nations. And they co-created songs together, and they also brought songs from their respective communities to share on this album. And so it's a really, really beautiful album. I'm so grateful to have the CD. I don't think it's digital or anything. I've never been able to find it. Otherwise, I would share it out like crazy because it's so beautiful. But Traveling Song, so this is, I'll tell you sort of the basic teachings about any traveling song, and I'm going to also share that first I'll let you know that elders Maggie Paul and Jackie LaValle shared this song with the community, uh, so that we could share it out, so that women everywhere sing it, like literally everywhere I go for any gig or yeah, like if I'm singing with Indigenous women, like everyone knows this song, so you might find it familiar. And yeah, a traveling song, any kind of traveling song at all, is to close in a good way. It's closing circle in a good way. It's also about helping anyone who has recently departed to find their way in the spirit world. Um, and also, if anyone, spirits who have been left, who have been stuck here, like I know my mom, when she died by suicide, she was stuck in that house for years because we went back, and I won't get into that whole story, but wow. Because it wasn't even just me that had this whole body experience of my mother there when I went to visit the house. It was actually me and the person that was driving me. She had to stop because she felt the same things. Um, so yeah, like just sometimes, I have a healthy inner skeptic, right? Like that's how I follow the facts and science, and I can still be really spiritual. Is I have that inner skeptic that goes, well, are you sure that's right? you know, like, is that really real? And it's like, oh yeah, you can't really deny that. So I know that happens. They get left behind, or they don't know what to do and where to go. Um, and so I was able with an elder to help her to go home, but I didn't know traveling song at that time. I didn't know because I hadn't been drumming yet. And so now, anytime that someone has left the planet, I'm singing and asking for them to have that safe journey, whatever that is for them. So that's one way. And then it's also like letting all of the spirits know not to hang out here anymore, that we're done, right? So I deal with spirit a lot, and I live with that, a lot of them, and some of them don't live here, and I don't want your Uncle Joe or whoever to be hanging out in my house either, right? So it's a way to close circle in a good way. It's also about gratitude. I am so grateful for all of you being here, and for all of you watching on the replay who maybe couldn't make it, and all of your ancestors and your higher realm support. So we're thanking them. We're thanking ourselves for showing up. We're thanking each other. And yeah, and closing in a good way, and holding prayer space for those ones who have left and or are stuck here. Yeah. So I'll again do 4 honor beats. Those honor beats are, I think I said before, but it's sending prayers out in all directions, and then we'll sing traveling song. I'm gonna do the Toronto version because that's what I sing for my students. They're used to it. Where I'm going to say one more time, happy summer solstice, happy Indigenous Peoples Day, happy Indigenous History Month. And yeah, like let's take care of ourselves and each other. And it's whether you're, joining my program or in Tara Moriarty's group or wherever you are going, but just go and get that support. And we need to be with each other and support each other because these times are not great, right? But we can make them better. And we're the ones that I'm going to share. You know what? One little, I wasn't even going to share this, but I'm going to share this vision that I had a long time ago into, I think it was 2008, around there, because I'm being prompted to share it. So, um, because it was all women. I saw this. It was one of my waking visions. I wasn't sleeping. I was fully awake, just sitting at my desk or wherever I was sitting, and I saw this vision of women in pretty much a fog. It was just all very kind of more like misty, and there was water there, and water and like all this mist kind of rising from the water, and all I could see was these women just, and I was one of them, and we were popping up from under there. Um, and what I was told was that we were coming up underneath it all. Those were the exact words. We were coming up underneath it all. And what had happened is the rubble of society had fallen, right? All that colonization stuff that that really has been destroying most people. Um, it all fell, and we know it's crumbling right now. It's taking a friggin' long time, and I wish it would hurry up, but it's falling, and this is COVID is part of it, you know. And and so these women were coming up underneath it all after all of that rubble and everything else is underneath, and everyone was just we would looking at each other and just knowing that this is who is here to help this time and to literally to come up underneath all of that rubble and to start something new. And the thing is, I've been feeling more and more, I'm getting spirit tears from this too, that this is us. This is COVID conscious women. I knew it was women, but this is women who are here and solidly here and not being swayed by the disinformation or the racism or the other isms or any of that, right? We're here, really actually here, doing the work. Miss of Avalon, yeah, Julie. I read that too. It's true. Yeah. And and we're so, it's possible. We are going to be that change. We are. That is why we're here. I fully believe that. So I just had to share that with you because yeah, I've been being spirit sometimes is like, you better do it now. You better say something. So I always will. So yeah. So I remember to drink lots of water. This might sound a little bit strange, but drinking, it's not just for fluids in our body, but when you are working with healing energy, then what happens is water will help clear out that stuff, right? I mean, that's a natural process, right? Pee it out. But it's like, yeah, water carries memory, and it right now is carrying the memory of all of what we just did here. All those songs, the vibrations that went into them, your intentions, all of that are in that water that you are drinking or that you have drank. And it's in your body too, because your body is made of water, right? So, yeah, we have so many water teachings in our culture that I actually have like a whole workshop on that, but I won't get into too much of that except to say thank you to our water, just like Dr. Emoto was talking about. I had the honor of working with him on stage and then in ceremony, a bunch of Indigenous elders and myself and some community members too. After I sang at his thing, I think it was in 2005. And yeah, like water is amazing, and we've known this for millennia. Indigenous women, we do ceremony with water all the time. So yeah, and it's women. Women are the water carriers too, and it's I think in pretty much every culture around the world that that's true. So, yeah, so cheers. Women do rock, yeah. And when I say women, I'm talking self identifying too. Just saying. But yeah, women, we are the water carriers. And when you think about water as medicine, it's the first medicine. I was taught that it is the first medicine, period. Because when you're pregnant and you're going to have a baby, what comes first? Right? Yeah. Exactly, Julie. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to say a big chimi gwech. Hi, kananas wow. Thank you to all of you. And Gizagatinawau. Um, and in Ojibwe, it's Girizagan, the Curve Lake version, anyways. I love you all. And I'm going to say Ekose, which is that's it. And I'm going to say Bamapi, which is see you later. And also thank you to Liz for helping me out there, and Julie for offering to. Thank you. Love you both and love you all. And we'll see you soon.